Hello, hello everybody. Welcome back to Cocktails or Rocktails with me, your most notorious groupie, Allison Rouse, author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of Notorious Groupie, me. Alright, and as always, I like to start by being so thankful for everybody here, for the awesome love, friendships, conversations, the trust, everything, the community that we are building here reminds me of the old school metal communities that we could find at the concerts in the 80s. So it really, really means a whole lot to me. And just, I can never thank you enough because words fail me. There aren't words. So, thank you for all the positivity, you guys. Let's keep spreading that. And speaking of positivity, today we're going to talk about the hottest bands of the 80s. Because us ladies, we were quite positive of which ones we wanted to fuck. And the cocktail of the day is going to be the Sexy Beast. So everybody grab your Sexy Beasts, kick up your heels, and let's have a little cocktails or rocktails, shall we? Cheers, big ears. Oh, that's good with the cranberry. It gives it kind of a little wintry flavor. And it's winter. We just got snow for the first time last night. Oh, jizzy crizzy. Guys want to know why I'm moving to Spain? All right. So let's get started. And honey, we are going to start with the obvious. We are going to start with Motley fucking Crue. Because ladies, we all had which member we wanted to be with that we thought was hot, maybe two. You know, oh yeah. And most of us got him, some didn't. But I never thought Vince Neil was that hot. And I can tell you right now, all these guys had women lining up for them in the 80s. And just wanting to be with them, wanting to have them, wanting to pleasure themselves with these little hot rock and roll toys. Because make no mistake, in the 80s, us women took control of the backstage game. It was a whole different scenario. So Motley Crue, of course, I had Nikki Sixx. Lots of people I know have been with Tommy Lee. No one I know has been with Vince because he's just a piece of shit. The second he opens his mouth, anything that was ever good looking about him, which I never thought anything was good looking about him, it just goes out the window. Just goes. Just says bye. Whew. And we're going to move on to, oh yes, everybody's favorite. Oh, I forgot to rate the drink on the Kip Winger scale. Definitely going to swallow that more than I would Kip Winger, but let's face it, Winger in the 80s, another hot fucking band. Who didn't want Reb Beach or Kip Winger, that other guy? I don't know about the drummer, the other guy. I don't remember his name, but I wasn't sleeping with him, so I don't have to. But let's face it, Winger was hot, the 17 and the Madeline videos, and watching Kip strut around in that shirt and that bulge and stuff. Fuck yeah. Winger was a hot commodity for us groupies and the ladies of the 80s. That's no doubt. So Winger, welcome to the club. All right, we're going to move on. And, you know, the first ones are going to be a little more obvious. Bon Jovi, of course. And have I slept with somebody out of every one of these bands? All but two, but I've hung out with all these bands. So I kind of have a first-hand knowledge. I don't need to research anything because I have a first-hand knowledge of watching these bands or being with the bands or watching my friends be with the bands. Stuff like that. So, Bon Jovi, of course, because you had hot-ass John Bon Jovi who really was off the table in the 80s. His cheating didn't happen until a little bit later because he just married Dorothea. If you guys want to know more about a few days after that, go down. I'll put a link in the description to my Bon Jovi poker game video. It's a pretty fucking awesome night. But John in the 80s, I don't think really got laid a lot because Dorothea was with him and they were longtime girlfriend, boyfriends, whatever, and he was just newly married, so I really don't think he saw as much action in the 80s. I know he saw some action, that's for sure, before the marriage, but after, I think it slowed down and picked up a little bit more 10 years after. We'll talk about that another time. Alright, so Bon Jovi, of course, these are all completely the obvious ones because there were some really fucking hot bands in the 80s and we all know the hottest ones. So Rat, of course, because these guys had at least 4 members that every groupie wanted to sleep with. Bobby Blotzer, not so much, because not only was he just like a short Napoleon Syndrome semi guy, but he was an asshole. He's still an asshole. He's a fucking insecure, angry little inch. I don't know how Bochet was ever with him, but man, did he really get the lottery with her, because that man got, that's the only member of Rat that I saw that really got 100 times less than what the other guys in Rat got. So definitely Rat, you guys, because Stephen Piercy, let's talk about the bulge. One of my first videos talks about the first and second times I met Stephen Piercy, and whew, you guys, you got to go hear that story, because, oh, God. It was like smelling what I was going to swallow with Kip Wingers a couple years later. Oh, hightailed it off that bus. Couldn't get my stilettos on fast enough, or my panties. So, no, I wouldn't go do Stephen Piercy again. I didn't actually do him, because the smell, it was like, holy shit. Like, whose septic tank exploded onto you? That's what I'm saying. But Rat had a lot of hot members. Robin Crosby, Warren DeMartini, Juan Crucier, Stephen Piercy. So definitely one of the top hot bands of the 80s. So awesome. And I'm going to pull out a little wild card here, and this is just my opinion, but Hanoi rocks. Because it wasn't just that they were good-looking guys. They had that hot lead singer and the black-haired guys and stuff. But they had the accents. And in the 80s, accents were everything to sex appeal. For groupies and rock stars and stuff. It was just the trend. And it was so hot. So here come along these guys with their accents and their big hair and their hot lead singer and their gorgeous boys. Oh, yeah. And their cool fucking music. Because all these guys had crazy hits in the 80s. They were all fun music and good little butt rock music to dance to. Total fun. So Hanoi rocks. Let's face it, we can all pick someone out of that band that we would love to strap a mattress onto our back for. Happily. Alright, we're going to head over to... Now this one, these guys got a lot of pussy back in the day. Not going to lie. And it kind of surprises me, because they're just on the verge of being a really super hot band, and that was Cinderella. 4 good-looking members, 4 fun guys, except for one of them. Fred Curry was really cool. All very cool guys, very good-looking. Had some really hot videos with the Twinny girls. You know what I'm talking about, everybody? These guys had, and I'm telling you, I was around them in a few different cities. They had tons of girls lining up for them. They wanted, and they had a few really awesome hits. Great fun music and stuff. Most of the guys in that band were really cool, real nice. Not Fred Curry could be an asshole, but really, I never really was on the receiving end of that. But definitely, these guys were a hot commodity in the 80s as well. Had tons and tons of women lining up around that bus for them. Be their little back lounge Bettys. So definitely Cinderella has to go onto this list. We're going to go to, of course, Metallica. Need I say more? Tub Tarts? I mean, these guys were the kings of the groupies back then, and I'm not even lying. They got twice as many as Motley Crue, Poison. Poison can go on this list, but just barely a mention, because we all know about the... No, Brett. No. Tap, tap, tap. Excuse me, sir. So, but anyway. So, Metallica got more groupies lining up for them than Motley Crue, Poison, Def Leppard, all of them put together. Seriously, I'm not even kidding. And they had the guys on their, the men on their, that even boosted their testosterone and sex appeal and stuff, because if the guys were worshiping them, the women were going to. Hell yeah. I mean, I learned about Metallica while I was sleeping with an ex-boyfriend from high school. I was on top of him going, who is this band? But yeah, so Metallica, definitely, I'm going to give them the king crowns of being the hottest band in the 80s. They became the biggest band of our generation and in the world, really. So yeah, the crown of being one of the hottiest bands in the 80s definitely goes to Metallica. And we're going to go to Guns N' Roses. Because there was not one member of that band that 100 different women in every city wanted, each member. So you've got hundreds of women trying to go to Guns N' Roses. They had killer songs. There was killer sold out concerts, the energy, everything. I mean, except for Axl Rose's little fits and shit. Seriously, like, these guys definitely, I'd say they were second. They're in the top 3, with Metallica being number 1 out of the hottest, sexiest band of the 80s, the sexy beast. Just, because Metallica and Guns N' Roses, they brought a different kind of manliness to rock and roll. Like, Guns N' Roses might have still been wearing spandex, but they weren't wearing the glam and the glitter and stuff after a while, you know, that Motley Crue was wearing, or these guys were wearing. And Metallica, they definitely brought a whole different machismo to the hot, sexy metal scene. And so did Megadeth. Because Megadeth is on my list, definitely. And there was another band that not only, I mean, they brought a harder edge to metal, the thrash and stuff with Metallica, but with their lead singer, with Dave and Junior, and, well, Nick Menza came along later. When I first met Nick, he was the drum roadie. He was the tech for their original drummer, which I don't even remember his name. Again, wasn't sleeping with him, don't have to remember his name. So, but Megadeth was a good-looking band, even the revolving members. Even now with James LaMenza, which White Lion was another hot band of the 80s, let's face it. But, yeah, Megadeth, they had all kinds of haughty little toddies lining up for them, including me and my friends. Because we all know I've been with Junior and Dave. Although Dave definitely is the superior one as far as those two are concerned. So there you guys go, and we're going to top it off with the kings of California rock and roll. That is Van Halen. Because everybody knows David Lee Roth set the standards really for the hot metal blonde lead singer. Like, the 70s, they kind of, hot blonde lead singers. But when it came to David Lee Roth, he took that hot blonde lead singer up a whole different notch. Now we know it's because of his ADD, but we just thought it was a high sex drive back then, which, thank God, the ADD has a high sex drive, and he's in 12 different places at once, so woohoo! But, you know, you had David Lee Roth, you had Eddie Van Halen, but the one really, that when I was in his presence, that had the most smoldering sexuality, just that suave kind of George Clooney, hot, sexy sensuality, Alex Van Halen. That man secretly just fish in a barrel for him, getting those groupies, reeling him in, just subtle like a ninja that man would go in. As to where David and Eddie were a little bit more outgoing and wild and crazy about it, but Alex, he definitely was the smoldering, sexy, hottie patati of that band. And you know that man was good in bed and had a big dick. Kind of want to see it now. Huh. Alex, what you doing? Coming to Salt Lake anytime soon? Sundance? I just want to look at it. I don't need to touch it. I just want to see your pee-pee. That's all. So there you guys go. Those are the hottest bands of the 80s that I know got the most groupies. Even more than Poison, even more than all the really good-looking pretty boy bands of the 80s. Definitely Metallica, Guns N' Roses, and Van Halen were the top 3 of the hottest, most desirable sex objects of the 80s as far as heavy metal goes. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Tell me what you guys think down in the description. Ones that I might have forgot, or ones that you find were super duper sexy, let me know. Let's talk about it down there. And don't forget, I am figuring out what to do with my TikTok. So you can find me on TikTok at the usual sister 001. So I'm going to do kind of Fuck 'Em I Did little series. And I'm just going to post little things that direct people to the videos and stuff. Because I'm going to be utilizing my TikTok. I suck at marketing and stuff like that. So just figuring it all out. So there you guys go. And do not forget to hit that description and check out the cocktail of the day because it's really good. my books, my merchandise, Patreon, all that stuff. And again, thank you guys so much for all the love, for having so much fun here with me. You guys make it worth it every single day. So don't forget, hit the like button. For those of you 50% that are just haunting me, hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to be doing cool shit once I hit 1,000, and only for my subscribers and my Patreons. So hit it. Hit it. Don't quit it. All right, everybody. Don't forget to hit my bells, and we'll see you next time on Cocktails and Rocktails. Cheers, biggers.